Hi everyone. So, today I want to try something that I think came around a few years ago, as far as I can recall. It's a different kind of card. It's not a typical card at all. Who knows? Maybe after I make one, it might be something I like. It may be something that's a little too out there for me, but we're going to try it out. It's an impossible card, I believe is what they call it. I know on Craft Stash they have some dies for this kind of card. I'll link them in the description box. Those would be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission for your purchase items to those links. I did pick up the circle one that they have on there, and I think it's going to end up making a nice sized card. They have an oval shape, and I think they have one for like a 6-inch card, and then either a 5x7 or A2, but the other one's rectangular. I don't remember. The 6-inch one is like a square. And, or actually, I don't even know if it's 6 inches. I know it's a square card. That's all. But I think we can engineer something ourselves to make it more of like a rectangular or square shape. The circular ones are going to be a little harder, and it's not impossible to do, by hand, but I rather not. So I ordered the circular one. If I like it, then I'll pick up the oval. But for now, I just want to try it out, and then I want to make one myself. So it's an interesting thing because basically what you need is a piece of paper. You can make a drawing here of it. I don't know. It's basically something like this. Let me get sorry, what's this thing called? Glue gun wants to get in the shot here. So let's say you have a piece of paper or whatever, your card base. And basically what you're going to do is make your card base like you would what you want, right? So if I want this 5x7, I'm going to use a 5x7 piece of paper. And then you need to score it somewhere, like in the center, let's say. And then, I'm so sorry, it's totally bleaching out. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. A lot of times getting closer helps it. Yeah. And then you're going to need a cut, like in the middle, going to that score line, and then a cut from either score line. So what's fun about this is that you can decide where you want these cuts and, the center to be. The center score line, though, I believe has to be in the center, or otherwise the card's going to look funky. So it does definitely need to be. So if this is 7 inches, this is 5. Let's say we're going to make a 5x7. Just because it's an odd card, I don't want to work with little tiny things. I want to make a good size one, and then maybe later I'll miniaturize it, right? It's going to have a score line at 2.5 inches. You know what I'm saying? So 2.5 inches right here in that area. How big do you want these side pieces when you turn it? Is up to you, I think, because honestly, I don't think that matters. It just has to have that score line that's right in the center. And then this, you're going to cut it right in half, right? This line needs to cut from the edge to that score line, so that needs to be at 3.5, right? Because we are doing 7 inches along there. So 3.5. So from 3.5, we're going to cut down to the 2.5 score mark. And then these guys, I don't want to leave it too skinny, these areas, because then it's just, I don't know. So if I do, let's say 1.5 inches. So 1.5, that's 3 inches, and that leaves 4 here. So that'll be a 4 by 2.5 inch space. What does that look like? This little piece that you're actually going to decorate. You'll see once we get there. But so 2.5 inches by 4. That's a good size. If we made these smaller and did, let's say, just 1 inch, you're going to have 5 inches by 2.5. So that's kind of big. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll do these at 1.5. 1.5, from either end. So that leaves this little area being like 4 by 2.5. And then these areas will be, something else. So this is the one thing about the dies. The dies will cut a nice mat for you to pop in here. Just pop it in there. Otherwise, you can kind of create this on your own, this shape. But the other thing you can do is just mat this area and then mat this area separately. Don't try to do it all together in like this L shape. So there's different ways to do it. But again, the dies will cut. Actually, the dies from Craft Stash will cut this whole thing for you, and it'll do like a mat and then a little mat if you want. And then, of course, the matte layer here. This is the one that's tricky. And that's kind of why with the circular ones, if you can imagine, if you have that little circle and you're doing the score line and then you have it cut in half or whatever, and then you have the other ones here, it's harder to mat this little area or to try to create that, right? So that's pretty much why I picked up the circle dice. So let's try this out. I'll just cut a card base. We'll grab some pretty papers. I was going to do this for Busted Out, but I was like, you know what? I'm too excited to do this before Wednesday. So I'm going to grab some paper and some cute matte paper. And I'll probably mat it up like 2 layers. So the base, obviously, and then like 2 matte layers. But for right now, let me grab a base color that we'll start with, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I just realized I'm really close up. I forgot. Okay. So I have this paper from Hobby Lobby. I think it probably would coordinate with something in this Anna Griffin Salon Nouveau paper crafting kit that I recently picked up. That will be awesome because we can just finish off our card with those kind of things. And then maybe next time we'll do some more. But let's see. So this needs to be 5 by 7, and I am using this guy. Actually, I'm going to cut off 1.5, and that'll be 7, right? Because it's an 8.5-inch piece of paper. Which I probably shouldn't. I probably should bring out the paper trimmer. I told you guys the other day when I had used my paper trimmer, I was like, oh, I fell in love again because I have not used a paper trimmer in so long. I forgot that it's handy for different things, right? So let me grab a paper trimmer and I'll be right back. Instead of finding an ancient paper trimmer like I did last time, I brought one out that you could purchase now. It's still available. So this is the tonic one. Actually, I think they even have scoring blades for this tonic one. And of course, yep, I was gonna say, I try to keep my refills because, oh my gosh, my Fiskars ones, I have so many different ones. So with the Fiskars ones, they're always changing the blades, where they were for a while, and then they had like the 3-track and the T-track and all these. So I do have these, but you know what, there's different colors, but they're not, it's not that one is a scoring and one is cutting. They're both cutting. Okay, so I just wanted to check that because I was like, do they have one that's scoring? Either way, I didn't have it last time with the other trimmer I was using, but some trimmers will have an option for a scoring, and that doesn't mean they don't, it just, I don't have it. Okay, so what we had said is we're gonna take our piece of paper, and we need to cut it at 2.5 inches, 1.5 inches in, down to leaving 1.5 inches. So basically what that means is, on this, we're going to go ahead and place it so it's 2.5 inches. So it's at 2.5, okay? I'm just setting it there. And last time I made like, sorry, I think I was misspeaking all over the place because I was ready to cut. We're not cutting right now, we're scoring. So again, on this side here, the longer 7-inch by 5-inch, on this 7-inch piece, we're going to lay this down and we're looking at 2.5, right? So I laid it at 2.5, and what we're gonna do is score this. So before we do any cutting, we're gonna put our score line in. So I'm gonna grab this, and I said it needs to start at 1.5 inches, right, from our little notes that we made. So at 1.5 right here, I'm gonna place this, and we need to stop 1.5 inches from down here, which is actually 5.5. So from 1.5, I'm going to score down to 5.5. So at 5.5 to 1.5. I hope that makes sense. So from 1.5 to 5.5, we're making a score line, okay? And now we're gonna turn our paper to the 7-inch side, right? This side's gonna come in here, and we need to make a cut from the very edge to the score line at 3.5 inches. So when we bring this over, we're gonna bring this into 3.5 inches. We're gonna bring our blade all the way up, or you can start here and go up, or however you like to cut, but generally this thing has lines all over, like little guides, should I say? So it's really nice. So I'm just going to bring this down very carefully, and when this little pointer gets to 2.5, that's when I'll stop cutting, right? So we have 2 and 2.5, and basically our score line's there, but just in case you can't see your score line, just stop at 2.5, right? When that little pointer points there. And most guides or most trimmers have something like that. They might have something to help you know where you're at. And we're gonna pick this up. So now we have that. Score line, cut, cut. All we're gonna do here is from 1.5 inches on this side, we're gonna cut down to our score line. Same thing with the other side. So I'm gonna move this out of the way just in case it gouges or something. So I'm gonna set up my paper at 1.5 inches on the opposite side and start up here and bring it all the way down again to 2.5. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this down, down, down to 2.5. I don't have to be so, I'm just trying to do it slowly so you guys see what I'm doing. 2.5. So on the opposite side, we went from that to here and went a little bit further than I would like. And on this side, same thing, you can turn it over. You're actually gonna flip one side or the other, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just turning it over, and I'm going to do that. Now, I'm just gonna bring it over here. And this time, if you wanna measure and make sure you're at the 1.5, you want to set the edge of your paper at 5.5, right? Because that leaves it 1.5 from this edge. Okay, and I'm already at the 2.5 marker, and I was actually a little bit low, so I'm going to push it up, and I'm going to go up. So let's look at this. 5 by 7. You're going to start at 1.5, make a score line at 2.5 inches in, right? Because this is the 5-inch side. So 2.5 inches in, you're gonna make a score line from 1.5 over to 5.5 is what we had said. And then on one side, you're gonna cut right down the center, the 3.5 to the score line. And on this side, on either edge, you're gonna come in 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, okay? So let's take a look at this. And then we're gonna do our measurements and our layers and all that. So the reason you can just make a score line on the way across, I don't like that because you don't need it here. So why, you know, bother with that? Basically, I'm just going to kind of bend this, and all we're gonna do is twist it, okay? So hopefully you can kind of see what this is doing. That's all we did. Just give it a twist. So this one's coming this way, and that one's going that way. So let's look at it again. It was like this. And all you're doing is basically twisting, twisting, twisting till this guy pops up and these other guys are here. And that is the impossible card. So what we're going to do is decorate this, okay? It's a little bit different. It's a little odd. When you send it, you're just going to lay that flat and hopefully, you know, the person receives it, they'll know. And then did you see that flex I just got? Okay, we're going to fix that because we're going to put like little bands. You can do it on both sides or just in one area. I would put it on both. But for now, what I'm going to do is cut my first matte layer to fit into these spots. And that's kind of what I was saying. The dies will help you do that because they just do it, right? We're here, we're going to have to do our own thing. So we already know this is 2.5. That's where we cut. So this matte layer can be, I'm not going to do a full 2.5. I'll do like 2 3/8. So 2 3/8 inches. And it'll be the same for this one. By 1, 2, 3.5, right? We know that's 3.5. So 2 3/8 by 3 3/8 is what I like for this first layer. And this will be the same here, 2 3/8 inches by 3 3/8. And then here we have 1.5 inch pieces that are also 2.5 inches deep. So 2.5 by 1.5. So I'm going to cut it 1 3/8 inch by 2 3/8. Same thing here, 1 3/8 by 2 3/8. Now I think you can easily look at this, cut a piece that's a little bit smaller, take that piece out, and then lay it on here, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to use different pieces. The piece here, piece here, piece here, piece here. And then this big boy should be what we had discussed was 2.5 by 4, right? I think, but we can just check to make sure real quick. Yeah, 2.5 by 4. So this one I'm going to mat with 2 3/8 by 3 7/8 piece of paper. And I am probably just going to find a paper that coordinates with whatever's going on in this. Obviously, we don't want to use something that doesn't coordinate with this. So I'm thinking about like a sagey green color. That'd be nice. So I will be right back. I'm going to cut down mats for each of those areas. Okay, I found this piece of kind of olive kind of sagey color. So I'm cutting at 2 3/8 because a lot of our numbers are 2 3/8. So I first cut it at 2 3/8. And now I'll do like this one's 3 7/8. So we can do this. And that's going to mat in here. See that? So nice. Okay, and then 3 3/8. I need 2 of them. So 3.5, but a little bit smaller than that. So 3 3/8. We'll go here. Look at that. And then another one. 3 3/8. We'll go there. And then I just need to cut these little pieces of, I don't know, maybe I have enough on this one. Aw, does that one work? Look at that. So from one 12-inch strip that I cut initially at 2 3/8, I can get pretty much everything. But I do need one more little piece, and I'll probably just, you know, I tried to play tight with paper, but honestly I had ripped this paper, so maybe I'll just cut this down and then deal with this, you know, to get my one last little piece. But I'll be right back. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down, although we can do our mats and then glue it here, but whatever you want to do first. You know what I'm saying? You can do your decorative matte layer and then glue them down. I do want to see about roughly where we're at though. So like here, and then maybe move this up a little bit. Okay. So I'm just going to glue down these matte layers. This is so much fun already, you guys. I know I was saying I want to get back into doing like these kind of fun things we used to do back in the day. So hopefully this will be a fun one. And if you haven't seen it before, I would say look it up here on YouTube. You might find other, not just you might, I know you'll probably find, why do I keep saying might and probably? But anyway, tutorials from a year, you know, a few years back. And then there. And And I'll pop this one on here. Again, I'm just leaving them plain because this is the first time I'm doing this on this size and everything, and I don't want to mess that up. We are going to make like little crossbars that help us keep it steady. So I'm going to glue these two pieces down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's the basic card there. And now I did 1/8 of an inch because I like the way that looks. If you didn't want to do that, you know, you can take your measurements, and you know, here you have 2.5 by 3.5. So I would say 2.25 by 3.25. Right? Instead of 2 3/8 by 3 3/8 or whatever. Just go down by quarters. But now I am going to go down basically a quarter from the main size because that's 1/8 of an inch smaller than this green piece. And I covered up my number, so I'm just going to do it again. So 2.5 by 3.5 again. I said that would be 2.25 by 3.25. Same for this, 2.25 by 3.25. And then these guys are going to be 1.5, so 1.25 by 2.25, 1.25, oopsie, I'm writing it funny, by 2.25. And I know people ask if I can write these down or if I have a blog. I do have a blog. I hardly ever use it, but I don't put it in the description box either because I'm just going, you know, just playing. And you guys can pause the video and, you know, remember what I said. Or that's a lot of times why I pause. I'm like, oh no, I said the wrong numbers because I know how important that is, you know. And then here, it's 2.5 by 4, so 2.25 by 3 3/4. And what I'm going to do is choose some pretty paper from this. I'm almost wondering if I should just take it off a 5 by 7 piece instead of cutting into my 12-inch paper, because the card itself is already 5 by 7, so there's got to be a way to cut this up without causing a problem, you know what I'm saying, with as much as I would like, or like what I want to use. So let me see. Some of these have a direction, though. That's the only problem. Like this one, I feel like it'd be weird that way. I feel like it needs to be this way. Huh. This might not work for me because of the direction. Well, yeah, no. It definitely needs to be like a landscape kind of paper, and I don't think any of these are. Don't these all look like portrait? Maybe this guy, but that's not even close to what I wanted to do. Maybe this one. That's weird. I didn't notice that. They're all like up, 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 up. I really didn't want to cover the, like, I want to go with this. But then you're covering up this beautiful... Ooh, or I do a mix and match, huh? Ugh. Okay. I didn't think that the papers were going to be an issue. So, alright. What I'm going to do is look at these, and again, 2.25 is the number that comes up more often, so I'll probably cut this down at 2.25 first. The only thing is you don't want to waste this, right? So we want to make sure, because there are a lot of long ones when you don't think about it, because this creates like an extra piece, so it might not work for me. Oh, no, it should. Yeah, because 2.25 and then, okay. But I think for this middle one, I'll turn it on this side, so the gold pieces, and then maybe for this bottom areas, or maybe these accent pieces will be on the gold side. I don't know. But again, first thing I'm gonna do is cut it at 2.25, and we will see. Also, this paper might not like that. It might be like, oh, that's a weird number. You know what I'm saying? Because you can cut it right in the half. And it'll be exactly half that pattern, but I want to keep and conserve as much of my paper as I can here. So I'm going to say 2.25. Yep. Okay. I'm trying to cut this without making it... I have more paper. I just want to see if we can get this done without making a big deal. If I'm going to use the gold side, I kind of like to have the side that I cut facing me. So there's the 3 3/4, so I'll have that on there. And maybe, let me see, that's 6.5. Perfect. Okay, so this one, we also cut it 2.25. I'm just going to turn this away. This time we could kind of center it more, because that one doesn't need to be centered, it doesn't matter, but this one maybe we should. So you see how I have more paper on this side than I do on this side from this middle design? So I will try to judge it that way. Take a little bit of this one off. 2.25, and then we'll do 3.25. Yeah, that should work. So I have this one from back here, and I'm gonna turn this way and take a little bit off of here. So 3.25 again, which maybe what I'll do is actually take a little bit off of this just so it's a little more the same. Let's say if I cut it there. Just trying to make the design a little more symmetrical, but I don't think we need to waste time with all that. 3 1/4. See what I'm saying? I chopped off like the little excess. So that'll work there. And then these guys, I still have this pretty gold print, so I'll do the 1 1/4s off of this. So I'm going to cut these 1 1/4, 1 1/4, okay? And I'll be right back. So there's 1 1/4, and I'll cut another one. And again, we'll go ahead and glue these down. I'm just going to glue them down. If you want to pop this up, you know, you can definitely do that. Have a little dimension. But yeah, I didn't expect this paper to be so its own thing, you know? I suppose if I was to cut it off the 12-inch paper, I can then orient the thing another way. But since those were the 5x7s that were in the kit, it was already cut in like a portrait mode. So I'm just going to glue this down, just like we did initially. And I will be right back. Okay guys, I took a little break and I don't remember exactly where I was because I went to go do some other things, but okay, so this looks interesting. You do want to put like a little guard here to keep this nicer. You see how it kind of wants to spread out, it kind of wants to move. So generally that's like cutting just a strip of paper, maybe like 1 inch by, you know, 3 1/2, whatever. You know, you have a 2-inch gap here, so you want to overlap it. And then you glue it down on either end, maybe put another matte layer just like we did here. But I don't know what's going on here. This thing, when I went to look at what I want to top this off with and things, there's this piece already here, like this little guard. I don't know what it is. This, I don't know what it's supposed to be, but look at that. I mean, that'll do the job, right? And it coordinates and looks pretty. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I'll do that. Now I have 2 of them. Because like I had mentioned, you want to place 2 of them. But maybe I'll do that one like there, and maybe up here I'll find something else that's like an embellishment that bridges that gap. Like, I don't know what this is with this little circle, but like maybe I can put this one here, you know? That's cool, right? So, okay, if I didn't have these, let's say you don't have this paper kit. Like, I mean, look at this. Maybe that's what I'll do. Okay, actually I'll do this. And then maybe in the back, this one, or like a floral something. I mean, this thing has so many pieces in it. We just need to bridge that gap, that's all. So, I mean, I can find whatever in here. Or I can just do a regular strip of paper back here. Well, I do have a little piece, but it's not quite big enough. But if you matte and layer it, it might be big enough. That looks amazing. I mean, look at this piece I have that I cut off. We can also layer that one up, or just in here, you know, just a little brace. Okay, so I'll keep looking through the paper pack and see if there's something in here that makes sense to do that with in the back. Like, I mean, you guys, I know it's in the back so you don't see it, but you do see it, right? Oh, let's go with that. Let's go with this. Okay. Because you can see them peeking out the side here too. And all it is that you want it to hold there to here to hold it steady. And we'll use this amazing gold strip here, which again means I probably won't put a sentiment, because if I'm using these goodies that I picked up, I don't want to just waste them and then not have, you know what I'm saying, never send it out or never use the card. So let me see. We have, again, like I said, sentiment, but I don't really, unless there's a generic one in here like that just for you, that works for me. Or thank you, I always have a thank you card. Oh, you know what? I'm kind of staying with the pinks and the sages. I don't know why I feel like today like I'm doing a live video or something, but I feel like you all are really hearing me. We're working this out. Oh my gosh, you guys, I just hit over 30,000. Thank you so much for being here. Looking for my dear friend. Oh, and it's so cute because it's a square. It really plays off of like the linear. Oh, that's tough. Again, this is why it makes it tough for me to choose something. But thank you guys so much for being here. I know my style is not for everyone, but it is my style and it's not going to change because I do this for fun, for enjoyment. I would never want to look at this and be like, oh, it has to be this way because that's what, you know, it has to be fun for you or there's no joy, you know? And what I mean for you is like the person putting out the content, sharing things they like, right? Once you start just doing things because you think other people want to see that specific or that way or that whatever, it just is, it's a recipe for burnout, you guys. So I know some people don't like to hear this. Well, you know, that's what I do. I'm sorry. You know, it's just, everyone has a different opinion and style and you can't please them all. So as I say, you might as well please yourself, huh? All right. Okay. Yes, this is definitely going to go here. I do not need this to be stuck down. Like if I peel this off, I probably don't want that. So what I'm going to do is just put glue actually on my surface. No, where do I want to put the glue? I'm thinking I can put it on the surface because I know kind of where it needs to be, right to the end and here, and then in here somewhere, right? It goes pretty much to the end. So what you're doing here is you're trying to keep it steady for your 5x7. And you can put it wherever you want. But if I was cutting this, let's say, like, again, you don't have these pieces or whatever. I mean, this looks pretty nice. And it's a, what, an inch? It's a 1 inch, what do you think? 1 1/8 inch strip by 7, because it's the whole length. But generally, you just put a little something here. So you can do like 1 inch, 1 1/8, or 1 1/2 inch strip by, you know, like I said, 3 1/2 or 4, and you would connect it here and maybe put some pretty things on it. Or like I said, you know, I just have these guys that happen to be big enough that will work for us. So I'm gonna let this set up a little bit, and I'm gonna put this back here because it's so pretty and it's just so like, it just peeks out right here. I think it's cute. Again, you don't have to have this stuff everywhere, but look at that. And then when this is laid down, when, you know, you go to send it, you still see those little flowers poking out. And this is kind of holding it together. Maybe I need to push that on a little bit more. And that's just to help you with the twisties, right? How it's kind of twisty. Just stabilize it, should I say. Where is my, okay, thank you so much. Ooh. And then some pretty flowers. Oh my goodness, you guys, this is coming together so much nicer than I had even imagined. So I'm going to play around a little bit and see what I end up putting in here. I really do want to use this rose. It's really pretty. And we have some other ones in here too that might go the way you want, you know. Generally, Anna Griffin, she usually pairs them up in a way that you have these, but you also have the opposite. You see that? And so honestly, maybe this is what I want. Can't really tell which way those flowers are supposed to be going, but either way. Okay, I'm gonna play with this a little bit and I'll be right back. And this is so funny because these guys have like a corner on them. I don't know if you can tell. They have like a harsh corner, and I'm like, this might work for me because of that little weird corner. So I'm gonna take this off of here and leave a little bit on this very bottom edge because I don't know how much of it's gonna stick out, but like that much. And I'm gonna glue this up here. And then I'm going to glue this, or yeah, adhere it, I guess, because I'm just using a sticker. A lot of times I do like to even dimensionalize the sticker, put some dimensionals, don't take the back off, and let that be up a little bit, and then these guys. But I think I'm going to put this like, okay, I'm not going to push that down quite yet. Something like that, and like that. Okay. That looks good to me right here. And then this little guy up in the top corner. And I think that's great. And again, I think most of it will be in here. I guess I could take this all off. Oh, actually that's the corner. I wouldn't want to take it off because I think that might be exposed, but we can just take the stickiness off of it. And put this guy right in here to kind of tuck in there. Let me put these pieces away and then we'll look at the card. Okay guys, I am so happy with this. Of course the papers, I mean, they're just gorgeous, so it just makes a beautiful, look at this. Oh my goodness, I am so happy with this. Look how pretty. And then, you know, it pops up. So even if you're going to flatten this out to put it in a 5x7 envelope, it's a 5x7 size. There's going to be no problem there. Put it in your envelope. When the person brings it out, it wants to pop up on its own already because of the tension, right? The tension that's coming this way and going that way, it's keeping it up, which is really nice. You probably don't want to weigh it down too much though, because I'm sure it'll kind of want to go back like that. But look at this. It's like, I am so happy with these. I am super happy with the way it came out. So, yeah, I'll link, you know, for the actual die set that you can do this with. And like I said, that die will cut this mat for you. So it's all one piece with, I think, a couple layers with the matte layer. Or it even has the pieces just to do them individually, or you can do it by hand just like I did, and it took no time at all, you know? Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so happy with this. How cute. What fun. I'm really excited to get that circle one in, because I will never do the circle by hand. But I'm super happy with this. So thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, pull out those trimmers, and if you don't have one, and if you like the one I use there, I'll have it linked in the description box. Description box is under the video. You can click on the title. It kind of expands. It might say show more. It might be an arrow, like a little triangle. There's just lots of ways to expand the description box. But thanks for watching, guys. I had a lot of fun with this. I'm probably going to make a whole bunch more bases just to have them ready, right? Because that's the part that takes a little time. That'd be a lot of fun just to have them ready to go. All right, guys. See you at the next one. Bye now.